Greetings, it is I, Dreadscape Gaming. How are all you Dreadknights doing today on this Tuesday, April 14th, 2026? We're back in Sanctuary. It's been a year. I literally counted the days. It's been a year since we've played Diablo 3 on this channel. I am going to be playing Diablo 3 today. We're going to be speed running through a lot of Greater Rifts, but before I can get to the Greater Rifts, we actually need to get some Greater Rift keys, because I actually don't have any Greater Rift keys. This game is kind of loud, so I've had to kind of lower it down quite a bit. I'm going to be jumping around between builds. All the builds that you see today are available on this channel in the Diablo 3 guides. So the one we're going to start with is Tal Rasha. Tal Rasha armor, which is pretty much the set armor that'll give us the meteor build. We're going to be doing ice meteors. Thank you for joining me today. I haven't played Diablo 3 in such a long time. Usually, if I'm playing Diablo on this channel, particularly Diablo 3, it means that I need a cozy game. This is a game that I always kind of go to whenever I'm kind of feeling a little bit meh. You know, like I said, it's been... I mentioned this on stream yesterday. It's been a couple of weeks that have been kind of a little bit tiresome in the background. A little bit stressful. A little bit confusing. There's stuff that's just kind of has my head scratching and stuff. I'm trying to work through all that stuff. I'm kind of excited, though. Because I gotta be honest with you, I'm very, very excited because Diablo... Ooh, these guys with me? Hopefully you didn't get a lag spike there. Diablo, not only Diablo 3 that we're playing today, but the fact of the matter is that, you know, one of the things that I'm looking forward to today is the Godzilla -0 trailer is actually coming out not too far from today. It's like supposed to come out at 6:55 Eastern Standard Time. So I'm doing my best to try to end a little bit earlier so that I can actually go watch the Godzilla -0 trailer, because it was available at CinemaCon, a con that I wish I could have gone to, but I just wasn't available to be able to, like, go there and go to a con. You know, my schedule is kind of a little bit crazy and all over the place. So, you know, I want to play... I'm gonna watch the Godzilla -0 trailer after the stream ends. I figure we'll just, like, jump into some Greater Rifts today. So, this is Tal Rasha build. It's very, very, very easy to play, for the most part. This is considered one of the S-tier armor sets in Diablo 3, for those of you who don't know. This is very capable of clearing Greater Rift 150s, which I am able to clear. I'm probably not going to do any Greater Rift 150s today, just because it's not really my particular cup of tea to kind of do those on stream, because they're very, very hard content. So we'll probably try to see if we push probably somewhere between 100 to 110 Greater Rifts. Now for this armor, it's very, very simple. What you do is you basically cycle through your familiar, you use your ice blades, you use a black hole to pull enemies in, and then you cast your meteors for anybody that's not familiar with how this build works. So it's just mainly pulling enemies together and just, like, pretty much bazookaing them away with meteors, which is really, really fun. It's one of the more fun playstyles in my personal opinion. So yeah, you know, I'm looking forward to the Godzilla -0 trailer. Dread got not a great amount of sleep yesterday, unfortunately. I was kind of tired. Like I said, I've been stressed. I've been feeling meh. I've been dealing with stuff in the background that hopefully is going to finally come to a positive resolution, I hope. Even though I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit pessimistic. You know, because sometimes when you're trying to, like, communicate with friends and loved ones, sometimes, like, trying to communicate, there's always a little bit of a miscommunication, which I think maybe might have happened last night, which wasn't the intention. I was basically trying to tell somebody I still care about them. I guess I didn't do it the right way, which, I don't know, I'm a dumb guy, right? I do dumb guy things, I suppose. So that's basically what I was basically doing last night, but I think I kind of said it in a way that didn't come out the way I was originally intending it to be, and instead I said it in a manner I think kind of got taken as, like, I don't like you, you are annoying and stuff, and that wasn't what I was trying to say at all. I was trying to say actually the reverse of that, but, you know, it's tough sometimes, you know, so I'm hopefully today can do a little bit better job of trying to convey that, you know. But yeah, you know, there's a lot of things going on. I've been talking about this also. Dreadscape JP branch. JP branch has some stuff going on. Like I said, my 6th anniversary as a VTuber is coming up. May 4th. I'm actually kind of scared because I have a couple things planned. Nothing, like, super spectacular. Keep that in mind because I Although we could probably do a 3D live, because I do have the capabilities of doing a 3D live, believe it or not. I think it's a little too early for me to be doing stuff of that nature, plus I have some stuff in regards to 3D that I'm going to be unveiling later on in the 6th year anniversary, but not just yet, because I'm waiting for the live 2D model of mine to be, like, completely finished and ready before I kind of jump into that. So I kind of spoiling that my live 2D model has a 3D version of it as well as a live 2D version of it, so that's the spoiler alert there for people who don't know. Other than that, really, it's just been kind of like trying to chill and vibe. A lot of communication has been going on with JP people. You know, like I said, I've been talking to a lot of Japanese VTubers, just trying to get stuff, you know, situated and sorted, and just kind of getting into, you know, a really good headspace. Like I said, 6th anniversary is coming up, and there's a lot of changes. One of the things I decided, like, moving forward was I was going to try to bring back Diablo to the channel, because I've been looking at stuff, and I found out on the calendar, Diablo 4 is coming up with the Lord of Hatred expansion. So I'm debating maybe jumping back into Diablo 4 after so long. It's kind of crazy to say that, but it's looking like Diablo 4 might be on the menu for the channel in the not-too-distant future. Because, like I said, you know, I had to do jury duty, and they threw me a random, like, you know, so it's like jury duty, and I got randomly, you know, stuff from that. So we're gonna, I guess, use some of those funds, probably, to maybe do Diablo 4. I'll play Lord of Hatred. I haven't played the Vessel of Hatred expansion, because I have said this before, I'm not really a big fan of Diablo 4 in general. I obviously have had the base game since the very beginning, when it came out, and I played the crap out of it, and then they kept changing it every season. So to the point where it's like, you never really know what's going on with Diablo 4. Sometimes it's, you know, really fun to play a season because they give you that whole power fantasy, which is kind of what I really like in my Diablo games. Then at other times, Diablo games don't really give you that power, you know, Diablo 4 seasons change, and then they, like, nerf builds, and they, you know, buff things that don't really make a whole bunch of sense. And I remember, like, with the Vessel of Hatred expansion in particular, nothing in the game really that they were adding, for me personally, really, like, made me want to say, wow, I really want to play more of Diablo 4. Everything, in fact, it did things to kind of nerf a whole bunch of builds of mine, and did a whole bunch of things to change the builds. It did a whole bunch of things that were counterintuitive to what I like to do as a player, you know? So it's like, if you take away the power fantasy of a dungeon crawler for me, and then it becomes, like, tedious, menial work for me, it just is, it's not necessarily what I like to vibe with a dungeon crawler, and that's kind of like Diablo 4. Diablo 4 has changed so much. It really has, Dreadknights. It's changed, like, 10 or 11 times. Every season, they've done something to kind of change it. You know, the person who was spearheading it, even, Rod Ferguson, which I didn't really agree with a lot of his changes on it. I think it did an okay job with Diablo 2 Resurrected, because it couldn't really touch or alter too much, even though now I heard Diablo 2 Resurrected has, like, the Warlock DLC, because that's, like, a character that's in, apparently, in Diablo 4 now. So I'm debating it. I'm debating maybe we jump into the Lord of Hatred. It depends. Like I've always said, there's a lot of people who are like, hey, Dread, why don't you do any Diablo content on the channel? And it really comes down to you, the viewers, what you're interested in seeing. And, you know, when it comes to Diablo content, lately when I was putting out stuff, I felt like there wasn't really too much of an interest in it. Even though I'm kind of in a mindset today, particularly, where I really wanted to play more of a Diablo. Because I haven't played a dungeon crawler in a while, and a dungeon crawler can kind of honestly get lost in myself, so to speak. And I just grind, and I grind, and I grind, and I grind, you know. It's just something about looting that's kind of therapeutic, I suppose, you could say. So, you know, I've kind of been in the mood to play in our game. Like, I know there's some people who'll be like, Dread, just play Diablo 2. The thing about Diablo 2 is, like, Diablo 2 is a game where you get to the end and then you get to hell difficulty and you're just farming the same bosses over and over again. As opposed to, like, in Diablo 3's endgame, I can just do greater risks, where sometimes the bosses rotate, and I can kind of, you know, if I want to speed farm, I do greater risk 90s. If I want to do, you know, heavier or harder content, I do greater risk 150s, or 120s, or 130s. I can switch builds if I get bored with a build on the fly. In Diablo 2 Resurrected, you can't really switch a build on the fly. You have to completely respec the character, which requires, obviously, getting the Token of Absolution, and getting the Token of Absolution becomes its own little thing in its own right that becomes a bit of a headache. So I just kind of, like, don't want to do, like, that type of stuff in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Like, I was working on a lightning build. I started playing through Diablo 2 Resurrected again a couple of months ago, actually, because I was like, maybe I'll do the full lightning build, because I now have, like, the lightning Sunder charms, but I couldn't, like really farm a whole bunch of the bosses successfully solo. So, like, Bale and Hell is kind of, like, really, really, really difficult to do. So what I ended up doing was I decided to reroll a new character and make that character, because obviously loot is shared in single-player offline. And what ended up happening was I took it all the way to, I think, like, Nightmare difficulty, and I just was like, I don't feel like playing again. And, like, leveling up, going through the story campaign just to get to Hell to be able to test things and then hope for, like, good loot drops and stuff. So I stopped playing it. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like Diablo's in a weird place, right? Like, people want you to play Diablo 4, but then don't realize how unfun the game has been. I'm hoping, like, with the the Lord of Hatred expansion, that's going to change things. And people are like, Dread, they got the Paladin now. Don't you want to replay the Paladin? Here's the thing. I don't really care for the Paladin in Diablo 2, or Diablo 2 Resurrected for that matter. Like, my favorite class in all of Diablo has always been the Sorceress/Sorcerer/Wizard. I like to be a mystical character that can conjure the elements and can cast, like, Ice Beam and Ice Meteors and, you know, Fire Blades and Ice Blades and Electric Blades and cast Black Holes and cast Hydras and stuff. And when you take away that type of gameplay from me, it's just kind of like... Like, I like also the Barbarian, but they nerfed the crap out of the Barbarian in Diablo 4. So then I was like, I can't really... So that's the reason why I haven't really been playing the newer Diablo games. I know I've had, like, people who were followers of the channel really into Diablo 4 content, as well as Diablo 2, but it's just like, I couldn't get into the mindset of playing those games again. Like, I really enjoy action RPGs. I've said this before. I enjoy... obviously, the Monster Hunter series. I've been playing Monster Hunter since Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. You know, I played Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, I played Monster Hunter Tri, I played Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter World Iceborne, you know, Sunbreak. I understand that I was watching an interesting take the other day as to a reason why somebody could not get into Monster Hunter Wilds, because they said that Wilds and World felt too mainstream of a game. It wasn't as difficult anymore. It was too accessible. And, like, if you fought one monster a couple of times, then you fought every monster. If you've done the flashy cool thing once or twice, you pretty much experience a game. And I can kind of say, to a certain degree, I kind of understand that, because we come from a very old Monster Hunter generations where things were a lot harder. You had to collect whetstones, you had to go actually out on the map to collect items and stuff. You lose that sense of exploration. So I do agree with the person in that retrospect. I think they had a very spot-on take as to how that simplified aspect of Monster Hunter has kind of hurt the game a little bit. Because it's not, like, you know, it's one of those things I do kind of agree. It has hurt the game a little bit, Dreadknights. Just a slight bit. Because you're not exploring as much anymore, and it's a bit more arcadey feel. And that's kind of been the direction that they've been moving in since, you know, even the introduction of Sunbreak. So I think that's very valid of a take of the person that said it. I believe it's a Holostars member, actually, Crimson Ruse, who said it. And I agree with that take. I do agree with that take to a certain degree. I don't think that they're not fun, though, because I feel like every Monster Hunter game tries to bring something new to the table. And the other thing, too, about it, like, you have to remember is there's two different development teams that work on Monster Hunter games, right? So there's the Monster Hunter Portable team, and then there's the Monster Hunter Council team. The Council team right now pretty much is responsible for making the Monster Hunter games that are specifically dedicated to the consoles. So we're talking Monster Hunter World, we're talking Monster Hunter Wilds. Those games were developed with the PlayStation 5/PlayStation 4, the Xbox, and I guess you could say to a lesser degree the Nintendo Switch in mind. Then you had the Portable team, and the Portable team was responsible for the titles like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which was a 3DS title, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Monster Hunter Tri Ultimate. Even before that, you had Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. You had all these different type of Monster Hunter games. And the thing about those particular Monster Hunter games is that they were developed with, like, portable consoles in mind. But when you think about it now, in this day and age, really the only portable console, quote-unquote, is the Switch and the Switch 2. And if I were, excuse me, if I read the rumor correctly, when it comes to the Switch 2, they're probably going to get Monster Hunter Wilds. Probably a little bit nerfed version of Monster Hunter Wilds, assuming they could get the game to run properly on the Switch 2, which I'm always kind of a little bit concerned. But that's apparently going to be the game plan. So they're not even going to like be developing a separate title that's going to be a Switch exclusive. So I don't think at any point are we ever going to get back to that direction of portable Monster Hunter titles where they were a little bit different, in which there was more of a focus on the exploration and stuff, which is kind of unfortunate, but that's kind of how I've kind of come to accept the change in direction of Monster Hunter. And, you know, I understand, too, like, for the Monster Hunter development team, they have to constantly bring in new players, and if they had kept, like, the formula of Monster Hunter Wilds, or, excuse me, the older Monster Hunter formula games in, compared to, like, how they are in World and Wilds, they would not have been able to get a whole bunch of new players on board with it, because it would have been less accessible. So, you know, I understand the purist aspect of it. Like, this is not the Monster Hunter that I grew up with. And I get that. I truly do. I truly understand. I truly get that take, because I'm one of those people that played on the portable games and then jumped over, you know, obviously the newer titles as well. But, you know, in that particular, like, aspect, I understand that. But for me, I'm still able to enjoy the games. But again, like, I'm not playing Monster Hunter 24/7 anymore. Like, Wilds might be one of the titles, I'll be honest with you, Dreadknights, that I've probably played the least amount. I have not played a whole bunch of Wilds. I've probably played, like, 200 hours of Wilds on one of my systems. And then I played, like, another 100 hours of Wilds. Maybe 199 hours is more precise on the Steam version, which sounds like a lot, but when you compare it to other Monster Hunter title games that I've played Monster Hunter World Iceborne for like 500 or 600 hours on PC alone, and that's like 500, 600 hours online, but sometimes, like, I'll take my laptop, I'm not in an area where I can play, you know, my games really, like, on an online connection, so I played probably closer to somewhere about, like, 1,000 hours of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. But I understand the concept of, like, people feel the newer games are a little bit more dumbed down and a little bit too accessible, and if you're, like, more interested in the harder content, that is a little bit more difficult for people to kind of sink their teeth into. So I understand. I get that. I truly do. You know, but it's one of those things where I don't think it's ever going to kind of go back to the older format. I think it's just going to constantly stay in one of the newer formats, and we're probably going to get more streamlined Monster Hunter titles. I do think the expansion, I can't really talk too much about the expansion because I don't want to get in trouble. But with the expansion, I believe you're going to see a lot more harder content. Because you have to remember, Wilds is just the base game. And, like, with every base game, it's going to be kind of easy-ish. That's kind of how all of them have been. Like, even Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. Even Monster Hunter 4... not Ultimate, excuse me. Monster Hunter Generations and Monster Hunter 4 by themselves as base games were very easy games. I know a lot of people don't realize that. Because the thing about it is, Monster Hunter 4 got ported over here in America to 4U Ultimate. So the Ultimate version always came out. Generations was, like, the first time in North American shores that we actually had a base game actually get released. I think Tri might have on the Wii, but again, I didn't play Tri on the Wii. I played Tri on the 3DS, and that was the Ultimate version, if I remember correctly, and that's one game that I bought later on. But I do understand, you know, some of the frustration. Like, I get it because it's like my same frustrations with Diablo 4. I'm not, like, trying to crap on Diablo 4, but for me, Diablo 4 is just... it's a long grind. And it's like the game never has really truly defined itself as to what type of game it wants to be, which has always kind of frustrated me. And this is not a dig on the developers, but it's like we went from characters having to level up to level 100 to then characters having to go back down to 50, and then you have to level up to 60. And, like, for me, who took various different seasons off, I come back to, like, check out the base game. It's like, oh, by the way, your level 100 character is now level 50 and you have to grind to 60. And by the way, all the armors that you had and the endgame builds have, like, can completely nerfed and stuff, and you have to regrind the armor sets and stuff. Or not armor, but the armor pieces. It's frustrating. It was frustrating for me. I was like, I don't really like that type of grind, but I did give it a chance. I think the last season that I played was Diablo Season 10. Season 10, because I actually heard really good things about Diablo 4 Season 10. So I jumped into Diablo 4 Season 10, and I just grinded away, and I really, really enjoyed that gameplay loop. I really enjoyed those affixes. I really enjoyed various different aspects about it. And then what ended up happening was, I found out about Season 11 that they were going to completely revert those things for the upcoming patch that had come out with the Paladin and stuff. And when they did that, it was like, you're changing the game again. And it sounded like they were changing the game to the way it originally was in the first season. And anybody who was around for Diablo 4, and this is not to be like gloom and doom or doom scroll or anything of that sort, because I'm not trying to really dog too much on the game, but it's like the first season of Diablo 4 was terrible. It was super slow. It was super grindy. It wasn't fun to play through. It was one of those things where it was just like, it's there and it's okay. It's an option. But it was bad. I remember I grinded every class to level 100 in Season 1 because I was no-lifing that game at that time. Because I loved the Diablo franchise, don't get me wrong. But then when I did it, I was like, I don't want to do this again in Season 2. But I did it in Season 2. And then I skipped Season 3. I skipped Season 4. I came back for Season 5 of Diablo 4. I played a little bit of Diablo 4 Season 5, and I thought it was an okay season. I played a little bit of 6, and I was like, I'm bored. I skipped 7. I skipped 8. I tried to play 9. I was like, 9 has changed the gameplay loop again, and changed around with the armors and stuff. I'm like, I can't deal with this, Dreadknights. I can't deal with this. So I took a break again. So I'm kind of hoping that the Lord of Hatred expansion is really going to do things to change it up, because I know they introduced rune words apparently in the Vessel of Hatred. I didn't play the Vessel of Hatred DLC. I still don't. I don't have Diablo 4 even installed right now. I might, off of stream today, actually install Diablo 4 back, because I do want to kind of take a peek to see what it's like and what has changed a bit, and then maybe, obviously, when April 28th, I believe, is when it comes around, we'll probably play some Diablo 4. It might be a little bit after April, too, because I have so much stuff going on, like I mentioned, with the 6th anniversary and stuff. Other fun things I've been doing, like, I can kind of talk about this because it's okay, because I am my own boss. I've been experimenting with VR chat. Not in a bad way, but I've been purposely and, like, messing around with trying to get my VTuber model into VR chat. I've been doing quite a few things in that retrospect to try to get it in there. We're getting very close to it. When I'm able to put my model into VR chat, I will probably do a VR chat stream. And we'll try to mess around and see some fun things in VR chat. Because I had an old, person that was an old VTuber friend of mine, right? And that VTuber friend was Ostar. I don't know how many of you know about Ostar, right? But Ostar was like an old VTuber, not like an actual physically old VTuber, but they were a VTuber that was pretty old, up there in age, and not up there in age, but they have been around for a while, let me put it that way. And they drew a lot of art. They drew a lot of interesting art. They do a lot of, what's the best way to put it? A little bit risque art. And what they used to do was a lot of VR chat streams. And I saw that they never really were able to put their VTuber model, but I was like, hey, isn't it kind of a cool idea if I could try to do that? So I'm doing like other VTubers have done on the internet. I've been converting my model. So there will be a VR chat stream. I can't tell you when it's going to be, because I want it to be a little bit of a surprise, but that's something I've been working in the background with. Other things that I've been working behind the scenes on, obviously, is the live 2D model as well as the live 3D model. I've been having a lot of business meetings with people over in JP territories to do some pretty interesting things. There will be collabs. I do have to reach out to some EN VTubers as well to do some collabs, because that's something that I want to do, but I'm going to be focusing on a little bit more on the JP side for the moment, which I hope some people can kind of understand, that that's like a little bit of an extra focus. Because like I said, I have like activities that are going on there. I can't talk about every activity at the moment, but there's a lot in the works that I just haven't been able to talk about. So that's something that I'm going to be like a major focus going through May into the summer. There's other stuff that I can't really talk about that nature. There's going to be some, obviously, redesigns on my model. I have taken some things that people have said into consideration. There's other things that I have taken into consideration that I'm not going to do. People are always like, does Dread have lore? Dread doesn't have lore. Dread's not going to redo lore. I'm not that type of VTuber. That's the thing. A lot of people kind of mistake me for. I don't lean into idol culture. So I'm not a VTuber idol. That's not what I do. I think, like, when people come to me and watch me, the way that you should take me in, the way you should take my information in, the way you should perceive me is that I'm basically a regular streamer that uses a VTuber model. I do things like a regular streamer does. So I will read your chats. I will, at some point I'd like to figure a way to incorporate sound alerts onto YouTube streams. I will be doing Twitch streams again. That's post 6th anniversary. I will do Twitch streams. I might do a Twitch re-debut, believe it or not, which is kind of silly. I have new outfits that are in the works, too. Go for this model, as well as our models that you haven't seen just yet. So there's that stuff that's going to be going on. A lot of different things. So many different things are going on. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm looking forward to it. VR chat is something I've never really done before, so like if people in comments and stuff or in chat have like recommendations as to stuff that you can do in VR chat, like some good, safe, because I don't want any not safe for work type of stuff. I want everything to be like really safe for work because I'm not a unsay so streamer. Definitely I'd like to do that. There will be 3D stuff too. I do have, like, 3D Live planned. I know it's kind of crazy. How the hell is Dread going to do 3D Live? This is an indie VTuber. I have stuff. A lot of people don't know exactly what I have access to and what I don't have access to, because I've kind of always kept that a little bit of a secret, Dreadknights, because I learned a very long time ago that you never let on people what you have access to, what you don't have access to. I learned at a very early on, too, like, you never let people know how much money you have or how much money you don't have, because these are things that could be used against you, or it could be used to have like certain privileges and stuff abused. And I've told the story yesterday when it came to like, you know, VTubing and why I have less trust in certain, like it's harder for me to open up to like VTubers because I had a negative experience with a VTuber before. Not like anybody that anybody knows. Like this is somebody that was like an indie VTuber. Keep that in mind. That kind of changed like how I felt, and it was why I kind of always keep my distance for the most part. I've been getting better with that, though. I've been getting better with that. I'm a little bit more open. I'm a little bit more friendly. I'm a little bit more, you know, receptive to things. But, like, you know, every once in a while, there will be somebody that might rub me the wrong way, and I just kind of have to, like, dust my shoulders. Not saying that anybody particularly has. But, you know, it's that. You know, that's life sometimes. I don't know if these guys are having issues on YouTube. I am green on OBS, so if, like, YouTube mobile, you're having, like, a buffering issue, the best thing I can tell you is refresh or jump to desktop, because this is actually not me today. I'm green in OBS. I haven't had any issues in OBS whatsoever, but I'm looking at my phone, I'm like, oh, looks like it's buffering on my phone, but why is that? Because my phone is just fine, you know? So, I'm going to be playing more of Greater Risk, or it's just going to be speeding through these. On average, a good clear time for this should be 4 minutes. No. Okay, good amount of clear there. Let's go. Good amount of damage there. Let's go. Nice, nice, nice. Nicey, nicey. So if you're having, like, YouTube issues, it's not the me today. It is YouTube. YouTube's on with the buffering, not me. Alright, cool. Let's take these enemies out. Nice, 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 nice. Good amount of damage rotation. Yeah, so I'm very excited. I've been very productive with, like, stuff that I'm doing VTubing. I'm not, like, you know, obviously going to be releasing any music. I will do another karaoke stream. Beginning of summer, it's planned. World's Worst Karaoke Volume 3. So hopefully people definitely look forward to that. I'm looking forward to World's Worst Karaoke Volume 3. I have an idea of the songs that I want to sing already, too. Which is kind of good, because, you know, I was kind of like, what songs should I sing? What songs would be good for World's Worst Karaoke 3? But I have a couple that I want to sing. I really want to, believe it or not. There's one song that I want to sing, Bury the Light. Anybody know the Devil May Cry 5 song? I really want to sing Bury the Light. I am the storm that is approaching. I probably won't sing that, though, obviously, now, because I'll get DMC. I really would like to sing that. There's a couple of our songs that are, like, favorites of mine from, like, the early 2000s, mid-2000s I want to sing. I'd love to sing an Evanescence song, but I don't know if I have the vocal capability of that. Because Dread, like, when I do karaoke for fun. I'm not, like, a trained singer. I wish I were. I know people who have, like, really amazing voices that sing amazing. It's not jealousy when I say this. It's like, I was just like, man, I wish I could sing like that. Because that would be so cool. I give it up for singers and props to singers because they're able to do, like, really cool things that I can't do. You know, they're able to express themselves creatively. You know, people are lyricists, too, that actually write lyrics of music. I always find that that's, like, amazing, too. Because, obviously, me, I do film and television. And what a lot of people don't know is, like, some of the stuff that I do in film and television is I do screenplay writing and stuff. I did have a film that I did write. Actually, 2 films that I did write. But we haven't been able to secure the funding for that, which is why they haven't actually come to pass. Because it's very hard. People who don't know about, like, film industry... Like, you have to get a Gates meeting with, like, a big studio, and sometimes, like, a lot of the big studios, when you pitch, like, a new, fresh idea to them, what they'll end up doing is they won't be interested in it. There's a lot of this big studios, and this is just kind of how the business works, which is why I'm very like dissuaded with it. I gotta be honest with you, is the business, the way it works right now is like, if you're not writing a screenplay for a book adaptation, a superhero film, something that's an adaptation that's like does well in the box office, they don't really take chances on those type of films. And because realistically, some of the ideas that I want to do require like really big budgets. That's stuff that I can't personally fund. And stuff that really you can't really Kickstarter it because you really need big studio backing. It's been kind of hard and difficult to get those things off the ground, you know? I haven't given up hope necessarily, but it's one of those things I've just kind of put on the side and pursuing, obviously, are different types of endeavors. That's stuff that people don't know. Dread actually has written 2 feature-length films. One of them was one that a good friend of mine that passed away wanted to actually be in, by the name of Tony Todd. Tony Todd, for those of you who don't know, is the Candyman. He played Candyman in the original Candyman films. He played in the Final Destination films as Bloodsworth. You know, he was a really good friend of mine. We used to have a lot of great conversations about film and cinema. He passed away not that long ago, maybe about a year ago. I don't want to get sad. I'm almost about to cry on stream, which I don't want to cry because every time that I think about him, I want to like I start to get like sad. Like you can't see, but like tears are actually welling up in my eyes just mentioning him. But he was such a great man. You know, I have so many fond stories of telling him. I knew he was terminal for a while because he had like told people that were like, you know, good friends of him. And he did talk about it, not too much on social media. But, you know, I had like so many amazing conversations because there's like people that are in the creative outlet, whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's like drawing, whether it's like even video games, where anything that's like creative, that you have a responsibility as a creator to inspire people, to promote peace, to promote being nice to everybody, to be, you know, promoting things, especially because of the way the world was. I'm really heartbroken because Tony Todd believed and truly believed that like things were starting to kind of regress because of everything that's happening politically in the United States. And he always wanted to be able to live through and see that things would turn around, people would be less racist and stuff. And he didn't get to live to see that happen. And that kind of breaks my heart a little bit because he was so trying to put out that message of trying to get people on the right, you know, foot, trying to get people. And he died before he even got to like really see the things turn around again, which I hope they do turn around again. But I, even myself as a fellow creative, is starting to kind of lose that hope. Like I see things, I put on the news all the time, and you see the stuff that's going on, and Dread is not a right person at all. You know, so I'm not like saying, you know, I don't want to say I go completely fully left either, because I don't go too far, but I definitely don't agree with anything that's going on currently in the country. I don't condone any of the behavior, especially the stuff that's going on with a certain person who's in power right now. I don't agree with the conflicts that are going on, you know. That's just kind of my sentiment. I know everybody's going to have like a different opinion on that, but you know, it's just one of those things. I'm sorry for anybody that's like listening and doesn't like to hear that, but that's kind of, you know, my takeaway. So that you see that type of stuff, and it just makes you sad about things, because I don't like the direction of the way everything's going. It makes me just kind of like heartbroken that things are the way they are, but they are the way they are, you know. And it's our job as society, our job as human beings, our job as, you know, people who want to see a better world, I hope, to be able to, you know, change how things work, you know. That's kind of how I look at things, but, you know, not everybody's going to have that opinion. Like I did talk about this briefly, you know, I had a friend that was, you know, a friend that was somewhat close to, and she went completely to the right side. And at one point we had the ability, like, you know, to agree to disagree, but then they completely went too far the other way, and I, you know, it's just one of those things where I can't deal with that, because I grew up in a household, I've mentioned this before, I grew up in a household where my mom taught me to love and respect everybody. My mom told me that not to see people for skin colors, not to judge them by genders, not to judge them by how they identify with, not to do any of those things, that you love and respect people all the same. And that's something that I always kind of grew up with. You know, I went to college. I went here. Obviously, I live in New York City. I went to college with people who are transgender, and they were very cool people. You know, and no different than you or me, for that matter. You know, they enjoyed video games. They enjoyed anime. They enjoyed everything in life. They just, you know, they, you know, preferred things that other people, and they identified certain ways in. I don't understand when people can't, like, just understand and respect that. So it kind of, you know, bars me when I, you know, I see that, because I went to school with people, you know. I have friends who are, you know, on the LGBTQ plus. I never have treated them differently. They've never treated me differently. My upstairs neighbor is a member of the LGBTQ plus. One of the nicest people I know. Bakes me cookies and stuff all the time, you know. Like, so I can, to me, I can't fathom when people treat people differently. That stuff, it's just not. I don't get it. I don't get it, you know. It's just kind of one of those things where I don't understand, you know, because I don't view things that way, you know. So, you know, when I have people that come in and stuff, that's why also, I'm sorry I got political, I broke my own rule. I just kind of had to, like, put that out there, because sometimes people mistake me. Like, I'll be on social media, right, and I'll post something, or I'll post a thought, and then I'll have people from the opposite, like, political spectrum that are liking and stuff, and, like, and, or saying stuff like, yeah, you're one of us. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not. Like, at this point, I don't believe in anything that the Republican Party's doing. I don't agree with any of it. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. So, like, when people are like, you're one of us, I'm like, no, Dread is not. Like, you know, if I'm gonna vote, I'm probably gonna vote primarily Democrat, unless, like, there's a really good person on the opposite end, but you can't, because there's people on the right believe in, like, racism and segregation, dragging people in the streets because they didn't follow the proper, like, protocol for, like, immigration stuff. I don't condone any of that behavior. That's deploring, in my opinion. You know, it's just kind of how I feel as a human being, I know. You know? It's like, that's also something that's kind of weird, like, in the VTubering spectrum, too. It's like, every once in a while, I'll get, like, a VTuber that'll follow me on my account, and I'm like, hey, cool, new VTuber, and then when I go look, it's one of these either, like, drama VTubers that, like, talks about, like, political stuff, or it's gonna be, like, it's a VTuber that, like, drama tubes about, like, stuff that's going on in VTuber industry. I don't like that stuff, man. I don't, like, stay away from that stuff. Don't follow me. That's not the type of stuff I like. I don't like to follow drama. You know, like, when I interact with other VTubers, I like to interact with VTubers that are people who are just really into video games and stuff, or, like, they're into music. I knew a creator that, like, followed me a long time ago. It's actually a corporate VTuber from a small corporation, and they, like, didn't even have an icon and stuff, and I remember, like, they were very, very progressive of a creator, which I like, because I think, like, it's better to be progressive in a mindset. Really talented musician, very talented singer. I always felt like the corporation that they were in, they could do a lot more if they had, like, the ability to do more, because obviously, you know, I'm not digging on small corporations, because I've always kind of, once in a while, back in 2023, there was, like, can I talk about, I'll talk about this, like, back in 2023, when I was still, like, popping off and stuff, and making, like, really content that the algorithm was picking up, there were a lot of, like, people that wanted to pick me up in the small VTuber industry spectrum, like, small corporations, and I did have dialogues with some of them, but the biggest problem with that type of stuff for me was, like, how are you going to handle me as a creator? It's like, again, I don't want to lean into idol culture. I don't like, I can't be an idol. I just don't fit that. Like, for me, I'm a sweaty gamer. I play games. I'm speedrunning this game. I'm making this look effortlessly while I'm talking to you guys about, like, politics and stuff. But, like, for me, it's like, yeah, you know, that's me speedrunning, you know, just talking about stuff. And the other thing, too, is, like, why I can't be a corporate VTuber is exactly what I just told you about. Like, I know I probably just turned off a couple of viewers when I said I don't believe in, like, far-right culture. Because, you know, I know there's a lot of Diablo people who are interested in Diablo that are, like, obviously far-right, but I don't believe in that stuff. So, you know, if I were in a VTuber corporation, I wouldn't be able to say stuff like that. You know, if I were in a VTuber corporation, too, I wouldn't be able to, like, play as many games as I'd like to play. Because, you know, perms are obviously something that's a little bit more difficult to handle, you know? So, you know, but like I had a lot of dialogues in 2024 corporations. And there was one that was very nice. I'll be honest with you, it was very nice and very accommodating and tried to make it look like you know, it was a very good team and stuff, and I should join it. And I kind of held back for a bit because I was a little bit concerned as to their ability to stay afloat. Because that's the other thing too. Like I've seen so many small VTuber corporations go truly under, man. And every time that they go under, it just like leaves these talents without an IP, and it leaves these talents like trying to figure out what they can do, like what are they going to do, because then they have to start over again. So I took that into consideration because it's like, you know, if I basically have to start over as a VTuber if I had joined like any of those small corporations, and then I wouldn't be able to retain the IP, which was something that was a bit of an issue for me. So what ended up happening was I kind of halted on that, and then the one that was really, really interested in trying to sign me ended up, like, firing their whole YouTuber department, the whole YouTube department, which was one of the people that I was, like, friends with at the time, too, got, like, fired, and for me, that was, like, I kind of held the grudge. They got picked up by another corporation that was, like, from, I guess, a similar parent company, and I thought about it again there, but then, like, the policies kind of changed, and they're, again, like, leaned into, like, idol stuff, which I don't have anything against idol culture, keep that in mind, but like for me, if I was ever to like join VTuber Corporation, keep this in mind, like I don't want to do like idol stuff, because I don't, like, that's not me. I gotta be that guy that like streams for 12 hours a day and plays video games for like 12 hours a day, you know? Like, can I name drop them? I'm gonna name drop them because I like, we never have interacted, so okay. Like, for me, basically, like, if you're ever gonna put me into, we're talking hypothetical here, guys. If you're ever gonna put me into a VTuber corporation, I would want to be like the equivalent of Kyla from Hollow ID, where I'm just playing video games and playing them and speedrunning them, like I'm doing right now, and grinding and grinding and grinding. That's like kind of how I would fit into a place. And a lot of like the small corporations, when I talk to them about this stuff, weren't looking for a guy that was like that. They wanted somebody that was a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily feminine, but I would say like a little bit more, less masculine, I guess. Not that I really consider myself masculine, keep that in mind. So that really didn't work out with a couple of places, because they were more looking for a guy that was going to be a bit more, like, appealing, I guess, to the ladies, which I don't think I really fit the bill for that, to be honest with you, both in real life and off of, you know, even in character. That's not, like, how I fit into stuff. So, like, you know, we've had dialogues, and there was a couple of other people. I have friends all over the place that have tried to get me to, like, leave here and do other things. And it's always been one of those situations where it's like, well, how are you going to use me? And when there's dialogues have come up, it's been, like, not the way that I would want to be used as a talent. That's why I kind of just always pass on it. Again, it's just, I want to be that guy that streams for, like, 12 hours a day and does, like, regular streamer stuff. And, you know, it'd be nice to have some help every once in a while doing this stuff, but that doesn't work. Like, you can't put me in a different type of role and think that that's going to work. Like, singing and dancing's not my thing. I have 2 left feet. I'll never be able to sing and dance. Even if you, like, gave me lessons, it won't work. I wouldn't be interested in, like, following that type of path, because I'm not an idol. I don't fit idol culture whatsoever at all. So you have to, like, work with me in a different way. Which nobody has, like, that's approached me to want to, like, leave where I am right now and put myself in a different position has ever really been able to figure that out, you know? So that's kind of why I just kind of stay doing what I'm doing concurrently, and why I'm mostly indie. I mean, stuff is kind of gonna change in that retrospect, too. Like, again, there's stuff that I can't talk about because it's, like, JP branch stuff, and it's not gonna be, like, anything that I can talk about for a while, just because it's kind of like, I've said JP branch stuff that I'm doing because people haven't even seen anything that I'm related to JP. It's like operating like a corpo, but not excellently operating as a corpo, and definitely not operating as an idol. So there's a lot of, like, fun changes in that retrospect, but, you know, it's difficult. Like, I also have friends, obviously, and I also have talked to people that are not necessarily friends, but associates that are VTubers that were corporate VTubers that then left corporate VTubing. Some of them have bought their IPs. But that's like another thing about me too. Like, if I'm gonna, like, this is the one thing that wouldn't really work too, because like if I'm gonna join somewhere, I wanna keep my IP. I would prefer to go somewhere as Dread as opposed to going somewhere as somebody else. Which would probably never realistically happen because everybody wants to like create new characters and new visions and stuff. Me trying to play up to lore too is just something that I don't think necessarily would happen too, because it's just not, I can't. That's why, like, with category Jinro, I could talk about this because I own a character category Jinro as well as a license and stuff to that. But the thing about category Jinro in particular is that, like, that was the time where people told me I needed to be more idol-like, and we're trying to, like, get into a thing that I have to be, like, this type of VTuber if I ever want to be successful. And that's why I hate category Jinro so much. Because it's, like, a time period in which, like, people were forcing me to be a certain way because they thought that that was the way to get over, and that that was the way that I was going to be able to, like, do stuff in the industry. And, like, that type of stuff made me really, really miserable, because I don't like to act, like, fake. I don't want to say people act fake, because that's not what I'm saying. I don't like to put on an act. I don't like to act. You know, I'm not an actor, I'm a gamer. So, like, when you look at that type of stuff, and like how I was doing a style of VTubing, I didn't like it. I don't like it, you know. The whole My Little Wolfies thing, that was actually a reference to a friend. But I hated, like, the My Little Wolfies era stuff. And, you know, I was definitely trying to still promote that positivity message and stuff. But I felt I hated the character, and, like, after months of doing it, and, like, being exposed to stuff, like, I just really grew to hate category Jinro as a character. So much so that I fired the person who was responsible for pushing that. A lot of people don't know I was, like, managed by somebody before. And I left, like, my management behind to do, you know, other things. Like, I don't... So that's also another reason why I'm, like, very skeptical of, like, corporations and stuff. I mean, it would be nice to have help. It'd be nice to have, like, more funding than what I have concurrently. It'd be nice to work with people in the team, but until there's, like, an actual place that has an option where I get to be Dread and get to, like, be myself truly and not, like, do smoke and mirrors, I'll stay where I am. Even if I'm only, like, streaming to a couple of viewers and people who watch on VODs. Like, I'm happy with that, you know? I've always said, like, if I can entertain even one person, if I can make one person happy, if one person is interested in the content that I'm doing, then that's more than enough for me. Like, case example, I had a YouTube short that came out. Someone commented and said they really enjoyed the YouTube short. I had a video I put out where I was showing highlights of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, where I was playing cool tunes. There were people that really enjoyed that, you know? So I'm in it for those small interactions with those people. Like, if I help one person in a guide, like the example last week, I was doing Monster Hunter... last week, I found out that somebody commented on a Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak video. And it was a guide video that I had put out years and years ago. And I was very happy about that. Truly was happy about that, because it was like, hey, the person found it very helpful, the person wanted to know where to find the materials to craft that armor. I'm like, hey, this person's commenting on a video that's X amount of years old, and it was still helpful and relevant for me. That makes me feel good inside as a content creator, because that's just the type of stuff that I like to do. I like to help people. I like to create and make, like, informative things, or, you know, and chill and hang out and talk about, like, stuff that's interesting, like the Godzilla trailer that's coming out. I can talk about things candidly, about, like, VTuber experiences that I've had, and stuff like... I haven't had negative VTuber experiences, only for the fact, mostly negative, I should say, only for the fact that I've always just kind of stayed here doing my thing, enjoying stuff, and people are like, oh, well, he's so small. Oh, why does he do this? Oh, he's wasting his time. I do it because I like to do it, you know? When I stop having fun doing this, when I feel like it's not really worth it for my side to keep, you know, do things, I won't do it anymore. I'll go on and do something else, you know? This is not my only channel, too. That's something that people don't know. This is actually my third channel. I have one that's way higher in viewership and stuff that I do. That's like me no miking and doing like speedruns and stuff, you know? But that's kind of like where I am with stuff, you know? Like, the other thing is I don't try to compare myself to other people, because I know I'm not like other people. I'm completely different, you know? I'm a bit of a niche depending on what we do, you know? But that's how I look at it, guys, you know? It's fine. You know, every once in a while, I wish I could, like, interact with other people and stuff, but every time I try to mingle into spaces, too, I just don't feel like it's my cup of tea, you know? Like I said, like, there's a lot of stuff going on. I feel bad for a certain group of people that I feel like are getting a bit of... I don't want to say shaft, because I don't think that's necessarily the right term. But I feel like they're getting treated poorly. I'm not, like, too happy about that, but I, like, tried to get, like, a feel for that type of content, and those type of creators should be doing things. I just couldn't get into it. It's not like a dig on them, it's just, I couldn't get into it because I think I'm a different type of creator, different type of, like, gamer. That type of stuff isn't really for me. Again, I'm a millennial, so it's hard for me to, like, relate to Zoomer stuff, just because I'm not from that time period, like, you know. If you get me, like, talking about, like, stuff from Nika Nika Daga era of, like, you know, content, you know, talk about, like, Nyan Cat, talk about, like, Keyboard Cat, talk about, like, old memes, like, Numa Numa stuff. That's the type of stuff that I'm, like, really interested in, and everything else is just kind of, like, you know, it's there or it's not. It is what it is, you know? And it's just kind of, like, lately, I've had, I don't know, what's the word? I'm just kind of, like, at this point, really, where I'm trying to block out noise again, like I said, so I can kind of continue to have that message of VTubing can be funny. VTubing is fun, like Nimi had said. And sometimes, like, getting up in the morning and stuff and making content stuff, and you see our things, which is why I've kind of not on EN Twitter anymore. I'm really more in, like, JP Twitter. Like, a lot of people don't know I'm more active on JP Twitter, which is so nice and positive over there and cool, than I am in, like, an EN. But I really, like, I don't know. Last couple of weeks it's been kind of rough. Not rough personally for me, but just, like, in VTuber spaces it's been rough because there's been, like, haymakers after haymakers and after haymakers. So I try to avoid, like, reading anything that goes on and doom scrolling and stuff, but every once in a while you'll get, like, a doom scroll thing going. Alright, cool. You know? It's just unfortunate, you know, stuff going on. I'm kind of glad, too, though, because it kind of, like, doubles down in stuff that I kind of just stay doing stuff here. And I didn't really get involved in too much stuff. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I did, I can't mention any of the small corporations that were very nice to me, and tried to get me to go, and tried to get me to leave, and tried to get me to do things with them. Like, a lot of them were very nice, and they were very approachable, and they had, on paper, very good ideas for what they wanted to do. It just wasn't stuff that I wanted to do. And that's the thing about me, too, like, as a person, as a creative person, as a, in a creative outlet, as a VTuber, like, for me, the idea has to be right. The pitch has to be right. The focus, the goal, the objective long-term has to be a goal that's, like, not only great, not only fun, not only promotes a very fun and positive working environment, but it also has to be something that has longevity to it. And that's kind of why we're actually getting into the reason why I didn't go to VTuber Corporation 2023, or in 2022 when a bigger one actually offered me an offer and I said no. The reason I didn't go was because the longevity I didn't think was there. I didn't think the pitch was right, and I didn't think, like, the overall goal was a goal that fit in line for me. You know, I want to be part of stuff if I know that it's going to be very long-lasting and that people are not just going to be graduating out the door left and right. For me, I want to be part of something where the goal is unity. I've said this a long time before, unity. I don't like the concept of people being divided. You know, that's why something didn't really work for me. That's why I will say, like, there was a small corporation where there was a corporation that everybody was united and everybody was trying to help each other. And I liked that aspect because it was one of the things that only they were trying to do. However, when they got into, like, certain collabs with people, then our collabs partners pulled out because of that. You know, which is unfortunate, I understand that, but I felt like it was kind of very bad because usually if you get into, like, a collab with somebody, you know exactly what you're getting into and what you're not getting into, right? Yeah, but there was that, you know? So, what I'm getting at basically here is that, you know, those are kind of the reasons why, like, there was nothing that really felt like a good fit or what I exactly wanted to get out of VTube. And I don't mean that monetarily, you know, but for me, it's like, is the pitch good? Is everybody team players? Is everybody working hard? are people friendly with each other? Is there a competition? Is like, you know, I can give the story here because it's not really a big deal because this was something that this company actually promoted. There was a VTuber corporation where they literally pitted all their talents against each other in terms of who could get the highest viewership just so somebody could get a VTuber outfit. Which I think is very, very bad to do as a company, because if you do stuff like that nature of a company, you're basically pitting your talents against each other and causing resentment and stuff. I didn't like that concept. And this was one small indie corporation that was trying to get me to, like, jump on board with them. I said no because of that. Not only because of that, but because I didn't think there was going to be long-term for the thing, because it looked like, and there was a lot of people who weren't happy. There was a lot of people who graduated from there. It was like a revolving door. That's like a big red flag. I'm gonna say for anybody that's trying to get into VTuber corporations in general, like if you see a whole bunch of turnovers, a whole bunch of talents like graduating for various different reasons, it's usually a red flag that there's something probably that's going on back behind closed doors that you don't want to necessarily become part of. It's either like usually a change in direction, or it's usually a change in management, or it's usually a change in how things operate. So that's usually when you kind of know when it's time to get out of something. You know, all these things kind of, like, so if you're a small indie that's looking to join somewhere, always pay attention to the turnover rate. Obviously do research. If you can, sometimes talk to people who used to be at a corporation. I know that's usually kind of a big no-no by people, but it kind of helps get information. Another thing, too, is you have to remember that, like, when you do deal with VTuber corporations, this is also why, like, some small indies, and I couldn't really, like, reach something that was something accommodating for both of us. It's always important to have a lawyer involved in, like, contract talks. I know this because obviously I work in film and television. Some people don't know this because they don't, they just sign whatever and, you know, it's whatever's whatever. But it's always important to have a lawyer look over things. If you don't have a lawyer looking over things that protect your best interests and don't make you, like, sign a contract that's like a dead-end contract where you don't, like, protect yourself from things, it's always kind of foolish. So, you know, I know a lot of people who, you know, and even people I don't know that got into terrible contracts with companies that were terrible and, like, abused them and stuff, and then, like, they had no way out, and then the company itself went under, and, you know, they still were owed money by the company, and, you know, that's why you get lawyers involved. It's always important to have a lawyer. Like, this is me giving people advice that are small VTubers in terms of that, because people see the corporation thing, and I'm not saying that corporations are bad, keep that in mind. Corporations are great. They can help you, like, get your foot in the door. They can help you with, like, marketing. They can help you obtain sponsorships, affiliations with stuff. That part of it's great, but the other part of it, too, is, like, you're splitting profits. And depending what your profit split is, you know, that's kind of important. On top of splitting your profits, you're also, on top of that, you know, got rules that you have to follow, and some of those rules might not be rules that benefit you from a personal life perspective, you know? And that's like another big, like, sticking point for me too with a lot of things, was like, I don't want to operate on a company that is going to dictate my personal life, and what I can do and what I can't do in my personal life, what I can do and what I can't do professionally from, like, work-wise. And I've seen a lot of horror stories about that over the years, and people I know that I've spoken to, you know, where it's like they couldn't do things that they wanted to do from a professional standpoint and business things, so I have shied away from stuff like that. So, you know, that's why a lot of things, and, you know, I'm not saying there was a lot of great companies that I had dialogues with that were very cool, small indie stuff, but it just wasn't for me, and that's why I stayed here at Dreadscape Game and do my own thing, you know? And I will probably continue to stay and do my own thing at this point, because I think it's, I'm not saying that it's better being an indie right now, but there's a lot more fun things you can do on the indie side of things that you can't really do necessarily on the corporate side of things, at least from my perspective, you know? So that's why I'm going to continue to do my best as an indie VTuber here at Dreadscape Gaming, and when you get to see Dreadscape JP Branch, this maybe JP Branch isn't on this channel. That maybe might be a little spoiler for JP Branch, you know? Alright, so we got some good things going. Alright, we got Bane and Stricken. I can't upgrade any of these gems necessarily, so we're going to go for one that has, like, the lowest or highest success rate here, and hopefully we'll get all of them. Okay, nice, nice, nice. Good, good. Okay, sweet, sweet, sweet. Yes, let's return to town. You know, so that's why. I'm talking about a lot. I know I've been very yappy the last 2 days. I've just been thinking about a lot of things that I haven't really been able to talk about for a while. You know? You know, it's other things too. Like, I've seen so many VTubers come and gone, go over the last 6 years. It's sad. I've seen so many people go. My friend, Ostar. But that was a good story because Ostar was somebody that was an artist that was looking to get into tattoo artist. She wanted to become a tattoo artist. What that for? She wanted to become a tattoo artist, and she eventually left VTubing because she got her apprenticeship. I believe she's probably doing tattoo artist stuff there. So Ostar was like a really cool person. I saw her leave. There was another person that had to leave because of mental health problems. I was an okay person. Another person that had to take a hiatus from VTubing because they had a lot of health problems naturally, hereditary, and they had to leave. These were people that were close, not like super close friends of mine, but people that had been around for a while. So it's sad when you see all these other VTubers that were on the indie side that just leave. I've seen some VTubers too, where they start like a month or two ago, and they're already completely gone. They're not here anymore. They just, you know, figured they weren't getting the growth they wanted, they weren't getting the views they wanted, they weren't getting it, and they decide to leave. I've seen so many of those cases where they get like friendly and stuff. That's also kind of a bit of why I don't do a lot of collabs, because, you know, I don't want to collab with somebody necessarily too that's like gonna disappear and it's never gonna do this again, or they don't, you know, like I want somebody that's gonna do something that's gonna be like passionate about what they do, very passionate about gaming. So that's why I always look at those type of VTuber stuff too. Like, you know, collabs is always an interesting one because it's like you have to figure out the person you can vibe. You got to figure out the person you have like good conversations. Can you have good conversations? Are you interested in the same games? If you're not interested in the same games, if you play something that's different, how's that going to work out? These are all logistics that you got to factor in when it comes to VTubing that a lot of people don't think about. You know, and there are some people back in the day that wanted to like VTube collab with me, in Monster Hunter in particular, and then like this is the one thing that I think is a do and don't of VTubing. I feel like I'm giving VTuber advice like if I'm going anywhere. I'm not graduating, keep that in mind. It's just this is stuff I wanted to talk about because it's been on my mind for a while. Like I've had people in the past that went to VTube collab with Monster Hunter, and then they completely. There was one person I was like, okay, I can collab with you. We set up a date, and then the date came by, and then like I can't stream for a month. I was like, what do you mean you can't stream for a month? And I was like, okay. So I was like, I don't think this person's very reliable for like VTuber collabs. So what ended up happening was I did not. When they came back to get like VTubing collab for me, I just was like, I can't do it now. I'm sorry. And I kept like trying to like tell them I'm not interested in doing it anymore, because the thing is, like, if you approach somebody for a collab, you approach anybody for anything of the sort, I am under the belief that you're gonna kind of stick through it, and if you're gonna be kind of flaky about it, it's not somebody that I would be open to then wanting to collab with. Then I've had some people that just try to force the collab too, which I don't understand that. Because like for me, I like if I'm ever gonna work with somebody regards to collabs, I like to get to know the people quite a while. Like I get to like to know how they operate, how they think, how they feel, what is their strategies for VTubing, you know, what games are they into, what do they do in their personal life, are they an artistic person, do they, you know, interested in film, music, what do they do? If they're not that, do they read books, do they do this, what is it exactly that thing, you know, stuff to that thing, because I feel like when you know stuff about people in terms of collaboration, it makes for a better collab, in my opinion, as opposed to two people that have never met each other before, know nothing about each other, and then you throw them in a room together. It's like awkward. It's like throwing two people that don't know anything about each other into a room together to have a conversation. Sometimes you might have a conversation flowing going if one of the people's extrovert, and another time you might not have somebody that is, you know, really interested in talking and stuff of that nature. And then it can be a little bit more, like, difficult and stuff. You know, so I think about those type of things too, Dreadknights, like, with that stuff. Fortunately now, like, with the stuff in the JP branch, I've been meeting a lot of people who have the same interest as me, and same passion, or really, like, driven to do things, so that's kind of why, like, you'll be seeing a lot more, like, JP collabs, as opposed to things with, like, EN side. But there's one or two people I might, like, hit up in case they want to collab on the EN side of things. Indie VTubers, let me tell you that. JP, we might be collaborating with some corporate. I mean, I haven't thought about it yet, but I might, like, try to do, like, EN collabs with small corpos that I know. But again, that's a little bit more difficult because small corpos, it's This is kind of how it works. Again, you know, they have to talk to the people that are they're in charge of them. I have to talk in charge of the people that are I have to talk to the people that are in charge of them, so they can know what are exactly my do's and don'ts, and then know their do's and don'ts. Again, for me, like collab wise, you can't curse on stream. I don't like people cursing. I don't like people that are acting lewd. I don't like people that are acting vulgar. I don't do that type of content. I don't like that type of content. I don't want my viewers exposed to that type of content. That's kind of something that's very important to me. Like, if you let out F-bombs and all that stuff, I don't. That's not me. I don't curse. That's not my style of it. And there's some people that might be okay with, like, having people curse on their streams and stuff. I'm not one of those content creators. I don't want you cursing on my streams. Like, I don't even want people cursing in my chat when there's, you know, chat. That's something that, you know, obviously, and this is not a place of arrogance, this is just my rules as a creator. Because I want people to be able to watch my content from all places and not have, like, somebody being rude, vulgar, or anything of that nature. So there's that. What else is there? What else can I think about that in regards to, like, collab? Another thing with, like, collabs is how you treat your own audience, too. Like, if you treat your audience in a certain way that's mean and stuff, or your haters and stuff, I might, like, be less inclined to want to work with you, because I feel like there's a professional way of handling things, and there's a non-professional way of handling. And I think, like, one of the things that I personally don't like is when if a content creator has somebody that's giving them a hard time and is being very difficult, I think it's one of those things where you just kind of throw it in the trash bin and you ignore it, as opposed to, like, trying to publicly shame or trying to publicly humiliate a person, like, to try to get some type of weird, sick revenge on somebody. I don't like that. That's something that I don't like. I don't see that happen too frequently in indie VTuber spaces, but I have seen it happen in corporation VTuber spaces. I don't think that's the way to handle things. So, stuff of that type of behavior is stuff that also would be, like, a big red X for me. You know, these are, like, things that I think about, like, how you treat haters and fans and viewers and stuff is kind of important, you know, because you gotta... I have people sometimes that'll come and stream and say stuff, and I just will hide them. And that's it. There's no continuation to... and there's no reason to escalate things. I don't like when people... So that's, like, another, like, do and don't of mine. Like, when I'm factoring in collabs and, like, professionally, whether I would work with people or not. Because that's a major sticking point to me. Can I take a swig of hydration here? Because my throat hurts. You know? So that's, like, important, you know? I don't like that type of stuff, for me personally, so that's kind of a big no. Other things, too, just how you carry yourself, you know, as an individual, you know? A thing of mine, too, is, like, if you're... This is not dick, because I understand everybody has show. I don't show enough sometimes here on the channel. But, like, if you, like, show so much, where it's like, buy my merch, buy my merch, buy my merch, sub, 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 buy my merch, sub, sub, sub. Like, and I go and, like, I'm looking, like, in terms of, like, collaborations and stuff, I would be less inclined. Because I feel like if somebody's gonna buy your merch, or if somebody's gonna sub to your channel, they're just gonna do it naturally. And I don't like that forced type of stuff. I know there's some people who have no choice because they have to do it. I'm not saying those are the people that I am talking about right now. I'm just saying I know indie VTubers that do that, where it's everything's like a dollar sign. So it's like, buy my merch, do this, do this, do this. I don't like that style of VTubing and VTubers. That's like how you will probably get on my bad side a lot quicker by trying to show stuff nonstop. Because I don't like that, because A, I feel like it's leeching. 2, I feel like it's just not wise, because it kind of puts people... It makes people feel a certain way. It makes it feel like people only... Like, you're only doing it because you want to get, like, monetary value out of it and, like, numbers and stuff. So that's why, like, me personally, I can't... Like, I don't want to collab with people of that nature, or want to really work with people like that, because it's one of those things where it's like, that stuff happens organically, and the more you try to push that stuff, the less sales you make. That's like the #1 rule of business. People don't seem to realize that or grasp that, but like when you're trying to sell yourself as a creator and stuff, the more you try to force people to buy stuff and to do that, the more people you turn off, because it makes it look like you're just interested in that and are not interested in anything else. And, you know, maybe to some people that is kind of just how it is, which, you know, if that's the game you're playing, that's you. Like, you do you, fam. But I know that from everything that I've seen, just as from, you know, an actual fellow VTuber that does this stuff, and also just people who I've seen fans and how they act to stuff like that. It never ends well. Usually, a lot of the time, people find that stuff very, very negative, and it's not, like, appealing. So that's, like, something I factor in with my, like, collabs I've been doing, you know, getting ready to do and stuff. Like, I look to see if, like, the person's trying to sell merch and stuff too much and stuff. Like, I'm saying, if you drop it, like, hey, by the way, at the end of the stream, I have merch if you'd like the thing, or hey, I have this, and you just say it once or twice, that's fine. But, you know, if it's all the time, that's when it just becomes, like, I don't know, that you're doing things for the wrong reasons, I think, at that point. And then it just kind of, I don't want to say it puts a scarlet letter on you, because it's not the case, but for me personally, it's just like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. So then it's just like, whatever. You know, at that point, it's like, I can't, not in good faith. And, you know, I'm not saying that anybody that does this is necessarily wrong, I'm just saying, from market research that I've done, various different reasons and for various different companies in the past, that always backfires. There's a way to naturally or organically do it. People are having fun. People are enjoying what you're doing, and people are enjoying what you have to offer. They do all those things organically where you don't need to even ever mention it, because they'll just do it. I'll give an example here. Samika Saba in a Hytale stream. She was just playing Hytale and having a whole bunch of fun. Just playing and enjoying the game. You know, doing what she normally does when she streams. And people were so having a good time and having so much fun and just loved the vibe of stuff that she never once ever said during it to, like, buy into membership streams or anything. And tons of people bought memberships, tons of people subscribed to memberships, tons of people gave away memberships. Why? Because it wasn't pushed on them. It wasn't forced. They were just having fun, they were enjoying the vibe, and it was cool and chill. So that's, like, the sign of a successful business person, because they kind of understand the business logic of VTubing quite a bit. So that's why I always say, like, if people want to do something, they do it organically, and the person knows how to get themselves over organically to be able to get those type of monetary things and stuff, you know. And it's no, like, shock to anybody who's ever been to my stream that I have, like, an infinite amount of respect for Saba. That's like one person you can't badmouth in front of me, because I get, like, upset about it. Because, like, that's somebody that has, like, infinite respect, because they go back way long time with Dread. You know, years and years and years and years. So it's like, you know, but they better than anybody understand the VTuber game than anybody else. Because you just do it naturally, you just do it chilling, you just do it organically. You know? You know, there's another person that understands the game very well in the male side of things. Let's get a name drop here. Brandon the Orc. Brandon the Orc knows what he's doing in terms of male VTubing, because, again, everything he does, I've never once heard him say, hey, I have merch. Hey, I have this. Hey, I could get to X amount of numbers, I need to get to... You never hear that from Brandon. Brandon just does some stuff naturally. He has fun doing his things, he's a bit silly, he's a bit kooky, he's a bit vulgar. And that's nothing wrong with him, because that's just how Brandon is. But it works for Brandon. People sub to him naturally. People go and chat and stuff, because it's just organically. Like, people who are really good at this stuff know what they're doing, because they just do it organically, and it works for them and successful. And that's why it's, like, very important to study masters of the game as to people who really know what they're doing. Versus people who don't, you know. I'm saying, like, you know, there's obviously different factors as to people obviously have to push things because that's what's expected of them and stuff, but, you know, you could do so much more without, like, pushing things too hard, in my opinion. Market research is there that proves it, you know. But that's also why, like, when Dread's doing, like, looking for collabs and other people, why I do things and why I don't do things. Like, if I see somebody's pushing things too much, it's like, nah, I can't. I've been watching, like, specific people on the EN side of things, not, like, in a corporation, that are indie VTubers, to see, like, if it would be possible to do, like, a collab with them. I've been watching, I've been studying, I've been observing, like anybody else does, for potential collab partners on EN side. There's one or two names that I think I would probably be able to vibe with pretty well. There's a couple names where, you know, I've been looking to see and understand what they offer. And it's been fascinating. I still don't really have an opinion on that, you know? It's just one of those things. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I will announce collab partners and stuff in the future. It's just, it's taken a while, man. There's a lot of stuff that's behind the scenes, too. And, like, the things with the collabs is, like, I don't want to really collab in this version of myself. I'm a bit more open to it when I have version 5.0 of Dread, you know? There's those things, too. All these things come into play. All these things are factors, Dreadknights. You know? It's just like that, you know? And like other things, too, like I said, like, there's a lot going on life-wise right now. I'm in a process where I'm in a phase right now where I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'm doing in terms of life. Like, I know I'm where I am currently. I don't want to stay here much longer. So I'm kind of looking into potentially not being here much longer, because I need to be gone from where I am. I can't anymore. I think my love affair with where I am living currently, I can't. I don't want to be here anymore. I've been saying this for a while. You know, like I said, I have a lot of friends that are on the West Coast. I kind of miss my friends on the West Coast. And then there's, like, our opportunities I want to explore, too, in different places, in different parts of the world that I'm interested in. Not for any other reason outside the fact that I'm just kind of interested in those things. You know, I've spent a lot of time in city life and stuff. I'm tired of that. I don't want to be a city lifer anymore. You know, some people love city life. I don't. It's boring. I've done it all my life. Some people love the cities and can stay in cities all the time, but I need to change of pace, which I've been talking about, like, indirectly for a while. You know, and I miss friends. Like, because I'm not near any of my friends right now. And the only people that I have, like, here where I am currently are, like, they're friends, but they're not really friends. Like, I'll talk to them every once in a while, but I rarely get to see them anymore because a lot of people just, I don't know, for whatever reason, after the pandemic became, like, super antisocial, which I don't like. You know, I'm not an antisocial person, believe it or not. Like, I love to go out to, like, card game tournaments. I love to go out to video game events. I love to go out and just do other things, but, like, nobody I know anymore really likes to go outside. I mean, I know economy sucks, right? So I get that. People get older, people have families. I don't have a family, so I guess it's a little bit different for me. You know, people, you know, are focused on stuff professionally. I get that. I understand, too. I'm focused on some stuff that's going on professionally at the moment and stuff, you know. That's our thing, too. Like, I'm starting to debate whether I want to get back into esports, even though I retired. Because I think there's, like, some interesting opportunities that have presented themselves to me again. And I've been thinking, like, maybe Dread wants to go do, you know, some esports for a while. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if Dread decides he's going to do esports internationally? Because I haven't done esports internationally yet. That's one thing I haven't done yet. I've done esports in US, but imagine doing esports somewhere else. Imagine esporting somewhere else, completely different. It'd be kind of a nice little change of place, and I have friends that can get me to those things that are necessarily those. So, you know, I've been thinking about that, you know. You know, card game tournaments, too. I wouldn't mind being in an OCG card game tournament, you know. Yu-Gi-Oh! In Japan is pretty fun. Very chill. They have way more chill, cool locals. I've been thinking about that, too. You know, maybe that's something I would like to do, you know. There's a lot of things that I'd like to do. There's a lot of things that I'm thinking about, and the wheels are turning, and the gears are turning, and stuff. That's stuff that I'm, like, trying to figure out right now, too. And again, like, there's another thing, too, that I'm trying to figure out. If, somebody that's, like, important in my, you know, last couple of years is somebody that's, like, gonna be sticking around because they want to stick around, or if they're trying to say that they're not interested in sticking around. I don't know these things. I'm trying to constantly figure this out. You know, it's one of those things where I would like for the person to be in my life, and I would like for the person to stick around and be here if they want to be here. But every time I try to have this conversation as to whether they want to be here, in terms of, like, you know, in life and in general, you know, and, you know, my small little tiny circle that I have, it's one of those things that there's nothing really ever happens, or discussions, or, like, it starts one way where it seems like it's going to be okay and that this is really workable and salvageable, and then it goes, like, you know, where it kind of, like, just gets, like, stalled. And I understand. I'm trying to be very patient with an individual in regards to trying to, like, figure out stuff. But it's gotten to the point where, for me, based on so many different things that are going on in my life, so many different things that are going on in the world, so many different things that are going on with projects, it can take me one way or the other way or the other way, like, you know, West Coast, or like going to a completely different world, you know, world and stuff. There's so many different things that can happen, but it's like one of those loose ends where until that loose end is fully tied up, Dreadknights, you know, I can't really, I haven't wanted to pull any triggers, you know, but it's gotten to the point where it's one of those things where, you know, a dialogue that I need to have with a friend, confidant, whatever you want to call it, will need to kind of start happening. This Dread can't stay in limbo, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's not to be mean, because it's not one of those things where I'm not trying to... Hamlet is not trying to have Ophelia go jump in the lake. He doesn't want that at all. He doesn't want Ophelia jumping in the lake. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want to see that. He doesn't want Ophelia to be miserable. He doesn't want Ophelia to be sad. He doesn't want Ophelia to be confused. But I do need, like, something a little bit, like, I need a bone thrown to me at this point. So I can just kind of either, like, move on if that's what it needs to happen. Or if it's not, like, move on, then something needs to kind of progress in a different direction so I can feel a little bit more comfortable for myself personally, and not always feel like I have to second guess myself or apprehensive. Like, that's, like, very, very important for me right now. You know, because, like, based on what happens with that will determine various different things. You know, because then it's like, well, I know kind of the trajectory that I need to take, as opposed to but now where it's like, well, I have 3 decisions that I can make, and all 3 of these decisions are decisions that I don't want to make until I know I'm super comfortable that this is the best decision that I can possibly make, where it's going to make me happy, and it's going to make, like, for an awesome new chapter in my life, I guess is the best way to put it. But I'm kind of a little bit pessimistic right now in that type of retrospect judgment. So I don't know. You know, time is ticking, and I guess most of that stuff will probably come to a head sooner than later at this point. But you know, it's one of those things where it says, and it's also kind of my fault too. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I have culpability thing, because I probably at times gave, like, mixed signals regarding something that made somebody feel confused, worried, maybe apprehensive, maybe felt like this wasn't a, you know, like, you know, made them hesitant because I had experiences that made me, you know, I'm pretty sure this is probably one of those situations that's happened where I wasn't very open because I was afraid about stuff, and I guess in not being as open I probably made them feel a certain way too, which I wasn't intentionally trying to, you know, it's tough. But yeah, you know, there's that, so, you know, I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough. But, you know, there's a lot of changes too in JP branch stuff, so I want to, like, be with the, like, in a good mindset going into, like, all the new stuff that I'm going to be doing and all the new changes. I feel like unless this doesn't get solved and, like, has whatever is going to happen, like, I don't feel like I'm going to be comfortable and, like, be able to work too. Like, that's our thing. I don't think I'll be able to work peacefully on the stuff that I need to work on and do the stuff that I need to do peacefully with that, which is why, you know, I have to have, like, very difficult, important conversations. Which, I don't know, I kind of have an idea already of what's going to happen, but, you know, I want to give the benefit of the doubt. Alright, let's take out this Greater Rift boss here. Okay, good. We have triumphed over the evil, perfect. Let's go, let's pick up all these things, okay, cool. Nice, nice, nice. I'm overburdened. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I'm kind of overburdened too myself now, lady. I know, I've been talking so candidly the last couple days. This is why I picked games I could just kind of shoot from the hip about. But, you know, it's tough, man. It's tough. Sometimes, too, it's like, you know, we're only human beings, right? And human beings can make mistakes. I've made mistakes. Other people I've known have made mistakes. You know, we're human. None of us don't make mistakes. We're human beings and stuff, you know? You learn from mistakes, hopefully. You grow from mistakes, hopefully. I'm always one of those people that's a believer that, like, if something seems like it's in bad shape, it can probably be repaired. It's just like, you know, it's like a bridge, right? When people say a burning bridge or a bridge is burned, it's one of those things where a bridge can always be repaired, but it takes two people. Like, it just takes, like, two people to tangle, I suppose. It's funny because, Brucey used to say that, about it. You know, which there was some truth to it. It always takes two to tango, right? And I could be difficult, even I know that, but, you know. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Because we're gonna get this loot. I'll probably do, like, maybe one or two more greater rifts, and then I'm gonna kind of dip out for the day. I don't know if I'm gonna play more Diablo 3 in the future. Again, this was just kind of like doing an experiment. Also trying to end before the Godzilla Minus Zero trailer comes out. I know that kind of sounds silly, and we started a little bit early and stuff, but, you know. That Godzilla Minus Zero trailer, I'm so looking forward to. I can't, like, I would stream the trailer, but I can't because legally I get, like, DMCA'd or copyright strike. I would love to watch the trailer just so I could kind of know what's going on in that retrospect. Because it comes out literally 6:55 p.m. But I can't because I don't have the rights to that, and if I don't have the rights to that, I will get in trouble when I could get literally copyright striked. And I don't know about that. I don't think that would be great, you know? So, you know, I just kind of, whatever. You know, we're just chilling and vibing, guys. I'm sorry, I know I've been very yappy, and I've kind of been, I don't want to say I'm trauma dumping, because I'm not necessarily trauma dumping, but, like, sometimes maybe you're looking lately, and you're wondering, like, why is Dread kind of been a little bit low on energy? Why is Dread always, like, thing? It's just because, you know, I'm a human being. I have stuff that goes on besides VTubing. You know, every once in a while I pull the veil back because I need to. Just, you know, just so I can feel a little bit good or, you know, okay about stuff, right? You know? That's just kind of how it is, guys. That's just kind of how it is, you know? You know, I'm a human being. I cry. I cry. You know, you prick me, I bleed and stuff. I'm just like anybody else, man. I'll tell you something. This is something that, this is something Rabbit actually doesn't even know. For a while, I was kind of off on my own. Just doing things by myself in a while. And, you know, a while back, like, there was a thing where I kind of went my separate way because, there's, like, a big miscommunication. And I spent, actually, they don't even know this, but I spent, like, a lot of nights actually shedding tears over them a bit. I was sad about stuff because I felt like I could have done a better job. I felt like I failed in a way, and I, like, disappointed somebody in a way that I kind of felt disappointed in myself, a little bit, like, frustrated. So I spent, like, put it this way, last April, was it? Yeah, last April. So I spent April, May, all of April, all of May, a little bit of June, before going to bed, shedding tears because I was a little bit upset about some stuff that had happened. And again, it was just because I was, like, I was a little bit more upset at myself than I was at the person. But I was a little upset with them, and I think I was kind of stupid, some of the reasons why I was upset. Is I should have been a little bit more understanding of the situation, and I wasn't. I felt really bad about that. So I was very upset about that for a while. Yeah, so, you know, like, I do cry. I am a human being. I do, you know, and stuff of that nature. You know, so sometimes it's tough, too. Like, people see a VTuber on the screen and they'll be so, like, mean. I don't know, man. But, you know, it's life. You learn from your mistakes. You grow, hopefully, as individuals, and, you know, things can be salvageable. You salvage them. If they can't be salvageable, well, I guess you learn from the life lessons and take on to the next one, I suppose. That's kind of bleak and stuff to say that, but that's just kind of how life works, guys. You know? So I try not to dwell too much on things, even though this is one of the few times I've dwelled a bit more than I usually would, because I think it impacted me a little bit more than I wanted to really admit to. Alright, let's continue to clear. That's the last I'm gonna talk about this because we're gonna get close to end the stream. We're doing very high greater risk today too. Yeah, so get through this. Take care of that. It's a good one. I picked games too today that I know I could like turn my brain off and just yap. You know? I'm gonna play Diablo 2 next week though. I think I'll play some Diablo 2 to give it a try and see how things go. I am thinking one of my streams this week is maybe getting moved. Might play Dead by Daylight on Twitch instead. I know that's kind of crazy to say and do it on Twitch instead. I'm thinking maybe I do a Twitch stream and try it out. I haven't done a Twitch stream in a while, but it might be time to do one. Just for the heck of it, because I don't know what YouTube Son's doing lately. Okay, let's see here. Take this out. Good. Take them out. Good. Continue this damage rotation. Good amount of damage popping off. Okay, good. Let's get these orbs.
I'm still waiting.
Still waiting. Let's look around. Good. Okay. Let's continue to push. Nice. These are pretty easy because I'm using right now the Curse build. For those that don't know, it's just a multi-shot build where you stand back and the further away you are, you just continue to shoot arrows non-stop. And you just kind of... I will probably be doing some offline hunting of Monster Hunter Wilds tonight. Maybe I'll play some Dead by Daylight instead. So if anybody wants to jump in for like offline lobbies and stuff, I'll probably post a link to that. Because I feel like I want to game some more today, just because I need to, like, chill. And just kind of want to, like, you know, breathe, relax, chill, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So we got this ring here. Let's get that. Just drop that down. We have too much stuff in our bags. We were looting too good, Dreadknights. We were looting way too good. Way too well. What is this natural thing here? Yes. I'm getting close to ending. Thank you everybody that hung out, even if it was for a little bit. I do greatly appreciate it. If you did enjoy my ranting and my yapping while I was playing like hard Diablo 3 content, definitely let me know. Leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. If this is something you'd like to see me do more of in the future again, because I know a while back there was a lot of interest in Diablo 3 content here on the channel, definitely let me know too. That was a little bit slower of a run, but it had to do with the map rotation too, and the fact that we stayed in the Greater Rift trying to get rid of like items. It could have been quicker, it could have been better, even I know that. You know, it'd be like that sometimes, Dreadknights. Like that. Okay, cool. Going into the yellow, enemies of Nephilim. Alright, so this will probably be the second to last Greater Rift, maybe. And then we'll just kind of chill and bow out for the day and go watch that trailer. I'm so looking forward to the Godzilla -0 trailer. I know we're probably not going to see a monster in it, because I doubt, like, the monster, like, whatever Godzilla's going to face off in the movie, we're going to see. Even though I would figure, based on the trailer and just the name -0, people don't know this, King Ghidorah at one point was called Monster Zero. In one of the movies, Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, in fact, which was called Invasion of the Astral Monsters. Or Astral Monsters, excuse me, in Japan, Toho. So I think we're probably getting a pun on that, which is why it's Godzilla -0. I heard something about it. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't watched, but apparently, like, Godzilla might be going into different locations in the world this time around. It's not just, like, stuck in Japan, which I hear... That, for me, is, like, really fascinating if they did that, because I wonder if it's gonna, like, CGI a certain thing. I don't want to give it away, because I want, like, the trailer to come out, and then everybody... I talk about the trailer. Tomorrow on stream, I'm definitely gonna be talking about the Godzilla -0 trailer. I'll play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna be doing ranked duels, because, like, I'll probably play some casual, but casual is, like, not casual anymore. I was playing a little bit yesterday. I will have a YouTube short over it, where I jumped into casual matches. Just to see what's going on. It's nothing but Cool Tune versus Cool Tune. I play Cool Tune right now. That's like the only deck I could use. Because I broke up a whole bunch of decks to make it. But like, it's Cool Tune versus Cool Tune. Everything is. It's kind of reminding me of Malice format at this point. Which I don't think is really good for the health of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because we have 6 different decks and everybody's just playing the same deck now. Which is kind of what happened with Malice. Where Malice, there was a couple of other decks you could play. But Malice was like the completely end-all to be all most dominant deck that was available, you know, so I don't know. That's kind of interesting, you know, I don't know, we'll see. You know? Also, like, today on the, like, even if you don't, like, hang out and game with me, go off the stream and stuff, like, somebody's having a birthday today. I can't tell you who, but well, it seems like they're having, like, a fun interactive game. I can't be part of that, unfortunately. But I, like, for other people, I think that's kind of cool, so definitely, you know, check out that content creator. They're very good at video games, too, like myself. You know, game respects game, I guess you could say. Alright. Definitely give them a... Because that's Dread. Dread likes to kind of shout out everybody whoever he can. You know? I want to see everybody succeed. It's stupid, man. I don't know. I'm just one of those people that likes to see everybody succeed. Even if it's not necessarily myself. I know I'm being a little bit self-deprecating today, but it's just kind of... I don't know. There's just been a lot of stuff going on. I'm excited for a lot of changes, but at the same time I'm sad because I feel like I gotta go all the way that way. I feel like for every, like, challenge, everything that's happening that's new and exciting and introducing me to a whole bunch of new people, I feel like at the same time it's just leading up to me having to, like, say goodbye to a couple other things too, and goodbyes are always hard, right? You know? I don't know. And then the other thing too is it's definitely looking like Dread's gonna go back to esports again, and just, I'm gonna become that sweaty gamer that people don't really like for whatever reason, and you know, there's something gaming accomplishment I haven't even been able to talk about because it has to be verified, but I'm so concerned when it becomes verified I have to make that announcement because I feel like that's just gonna give like more fodder for people to dislike me, I guess. I'm not saying everybody dislikes me, keep that in mind, that's not what I'm talking about, but you know, when it comes to like gaming accomplishments, sometimes like people do things differently than other people. So like me, I just ran through Great Earths that were like Great Earth 90s in like 3-minute clear times and stuff. Did it super fast, because that's just kind of what I do. I like to speedrun and stuff, but you know, for other people, maybe they don't think that's really good, or you know, I don't know. Dread's been feeling stuff, you know. It's like I gotta be me, right? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like being me, sometimes though is not. I don't know, it's like having a scarlet letter sometimes. It's like I'm kind of tired of feeling that way. Alright, let's get this stuff done. I think probably I will do like a petrified scream, maybe? I think we might have one. And then we'll pop a petrified scream, see if we can do that, get the gem done, and then I will bid all of you a very, very fun farewell. Again, thanks to anybody that watched on VOD. Thanks to anybody that came in for a little bit for stream. I do, you know, I appreciate that stuff. I did enjoy playing Diablo 3. I would play more of it, but again, like I said, it's really, I do things based on what I think viewers are going to find interesting. If they don't find it interesting, there's not enough evidence for me to do it again, right? If it's not enough evidence for me to do it again, then I probably won't do it again. Just like, you know, the other thing I want to preface, because I know, like, the major driving force of stuff right now is, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. I don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel all the time, so I'm not going to do that. Because if I just had to do Master Duel all the time, I'd be miserable. Or I don't want to do that. I need to be able to do stuff as a content creator that's going to make me feel fulfilled. And if it doesn't make me feel fulfilled, then I can't. You know, I can't. Then it's time definitely to move on. Perfect. That's how I look at it. 4-minute clear time. That was pretty good. Let's get 2 Paragon here. Let's get rid of all this crap loot. I know I say crap loot, but for other people that'd be something that they'd be very happy about. Okay, good. We got the Raps of Clarity. Okay, good. We got the Promise of Glory. Okay, we got the Duffel. We got the Marauders. We got the Boots. Ice Climbers, that's not necessarily good loot either. Look around. No. Alright. Nothing I could use, so we're gonna salvage all of this Dreadnought. Okay, cool. Let's look here. Let's look here. Oh. Anything? I'm gonna drop some gems I don't necessarily need right now. Yeah, like, I don't need the Wildebeest one, that's terrible. Wrath of Lightning, I'm never gonna use that either. Alright, let's see. I think I have a Petrified Scream, so we'll go over... Hold on. Let's play the game, because I've been trying to get, like, a Ancient Legendary all-stream of the Cage of the Hellborn. We didn't get it, which is kind of unfortunate. You know, it is what it is. Alright, let's salvage all this. Good. Let's keep going. I'm gonna gamble a couple times here. Good steal. I don't know if this is necessarily a good steal. I want something that's Ancient Legendary. Give me what I want. I need it! I deserve it! I want it! You know, it's one of those things, right? Hello there as well. A decent amount of gear. Nothing good there as well. We're gonna salvage it all. Okay, good. Let's go here. Still nothing good. It's unfortunate. And we already tried to re-roll the cage, but it didn't give us an Ancient Legendary. I would have had to re-roll all my resources to be able to get it. Which, I'm not going to do that either, because it's just kind of a waste of resources, so to speak. Dreadknights. Alright. Let's go. Remove that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Okay, good. Let's get 3 more of these. Nope. That's not good either. Alright, let's get rid of those. I can't repair anything. Do I do one more? We could do one more. I think one more might be good. Just because we still have some time. Yes, prove ourselves worthy, so we're gonna pop everything here. This is, again, is one of those builds where you just gotta stay very distant to things. Alright, good. Let's get some orbs. Good. Get some earthings shot. Okay, nice. Perfect. Bounce around over here. Good. Alright, nice. Decent amount of stuff here. Alright, still waiting. What are you waiting for, though? Let me see. We're waiting for the cooldown, that's it. Okay. Again, this is pretty hard content, believe it or not. Most people can't really clear this type of greater rifts. It takes a while to get to it, because you have to have all your gear Ancient Legendary, or Primal Ancient Legendary. My goal one day in this game, but I never have that type of time. I'd have to, like, play Diablo 3 non-stop, which I don't have the time to anymore. I want to be able to get all my gear, all pieces of gear on all my builds to Primal Ancient Legendary, but it's pretty difficult. I am a little bit sad that they stopped development for this game, because I really enjoyed, like, the seasonal themes, and now they just recycle seasonal themes, which is one of the reasons why I'm not playing the new season of Diablo 3, because it's a season that I've already played, which I think it's with the Ethereals, if I remember correctly, which they're pretty cool weapons, but you don't get to keep them, and all you get to do is keep the transmog, and I don't know. I don't feel like playing seasonal content in Diablo 3 anymore. There are people. Again, I might check out Diablo 4 pre-expansions, to see if there's anything new that's offered. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that on stream necessarily. I just don't feel like that would be something worthwhile. I don't know. Maybe I do it, maybe I don't. I don't know at this point. Gigabash is something that I definitely wanted to do as well. I don't know. You know, cool. What we can do here. Gigabash DLC came out too. I haven't had time to play it. I was thinking of playing Gigabash DLC. I don't know if I'll have time to do it. Like, I was gonna play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on Thursday, but I'm thinking I don't even want to play that game anymore at this point. I'm trying not to, like, but I might, like, I don't know if I want to invest that long in a playthrough at this point. Just, I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep it open on the schedule to determine, but I don't know. We'll see. Because I feel like it's going to take us forever to finish Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, just because I can only do really, like, 2-hour sessions. And I feel like we would need, like, half a year to finish Breath of the Wild. I don't know if I'm ready to sign up for that type of stuff again tonight, you know. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but personally I don't feel like it. Let's go. Still waiting. Let's go. Alright, nice. Good amount of damage. Pick this up. Alright, good amount of damage. Cool. Not bad. Good amount of damage there, too. Alright. Good amount of damage here. Let's go. Good. Let's go up this way. Okay, sweet. We're almost done with this Greater Rift. We're getting very, very close to it. You just gotta kill a whole bunch of enemies and collect purple orbs for those people who don't know. Okay, good. Nice. Okay, good. Good. Decent amount of kills. Good. Let's get that. I didn't really have to hit the pylon there. It's fine. Gotta get some distance here, so I'm gonna move back a bit. The further away we are, the more damage we do, but we're not close enough to actually even hit with the multi-shot. That's why. We hit for 15.11 trillion damage there. It was freaking amazing. Love these builds sometimes. Alright, let's pick stuff up here. Hello. Greetings! It is I, Dreadscape Gaming. You know why I said that? That was one of my cool things I've always did on the channel, only because it reminds me of old school stuff. Old school stuff, right? So, like, anybody familiar with, like, those old school horror shows, like Svengoolie, and there was that guy that was, like, the grandpa from, or Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, where I was very inspired with my greetings to be something of that nature, Dreadknights. Alright. 3-minute clear time, Greater Rift 100. That's actually pretty good. This one probably could push 110, too. If I want to. I'm just probably going to be very hesitant to want to do that, just because, you know, 150, these aren't. I have a build that could do 150, but it's not any of the builds I showed today. It's a different build. I just wanted to, like, work on builds that I, like, have fun playing with. So in case you're wondering, that's what we were doing this whole time. Alright. Good. Nice. Eye of Prophecy. Let's get this eye. I'm looking for a Halo of Canary, but I haven't been able to get one that's an Ancient Legendary. That was something else I was trying to go for all stream, but it wasn't available to us Dreadknights. That's kind of unfortunate. Oh, I almost put on the wrong pants here. That would have been unfortunate. Okay, that's nothing good still. Mostly crap loot. Very, very unfortunate. I mean, I was going to call you my little Dreadknights. I don't want to say that. Reminds me again of Category Jinro, my little wolfies. I hated that so much, man. I can't tell you how much I hated that character. I hated that whole phase with a passion. Like, that's just not me. Let's see. Let's identify this. I'm gonna do the Petrified Scream on stream, just to see how far we can push with this build. I need just a gem that'll be higher than 100. Preferably 125, but with this build, I don't think I could do it. I have to use, like, Gears of Dreadland for that. I'm not going to use the Gears of Dreadland here. Need more time. Need more time. Alright. Alright, cool. Shoot here, good. Shoot here, good. Shoot here, good. Okay, good. Nice, let's pick that up. Okay, good. Decent amount of damage here, good. Decent amount of damage here, good. Decent, decent. Let's keep it moving. Alright, so basically the goal, for those of you who don't know, we have to kill all the enemies on the screen without dying, as well as not having the overwhelmed meter. The overwhelmed meter gets full. That means that we basically end the run. On top of that, if we die during this run, it is automatically over. The problem with this particular thing here is that it's a lot of AoE damage. There's so much AoE damage here. Like, a ridiculously large amount of AoE damage comes through here. Alright, let's pick some stuff up here. Okay, good. Let's pick some stuff up over here, fine. Good amount of stuff there, fine. Need more time. Do you really need more time? I don't think you do. Alright, cool. Let's go. 103 killing streak. This used to be much better for experience points too, but then they nerfed it because people were using the Petrified Screams as, like, experience point farming, which was a bit, like, really truly annoying. Truly annoying, so we're just trying to keep it here. We're just trying to hold it. Can we hold? Can we hold here? I think we can. I think we're doing pretty good in Dreadknights. I think we got it. Ideally, just 110, because I don't want to get, like, too greedy, because I know that with this particular build that we're using, it would be a little bit harder to kind of keep it up. Okay, come on, come on. I kind of try to kite them, for those of you who don't know, lead them a little bit further towards me, or I could be in a corner where I have like a little bit more comfortable thing here. Oh, look at all those explosions, I gotta be careful. You know what, if we die, it's okay, because I'm just trying to get the gem to 110. Because with this build, 125 is the max, I don't think we'd be able to do it. Okay, cool. Nice, 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 nice. Alright. Alright, good. Good, good, good. It's looking promising here. Looking promising here. Think we might be okay. Might be okay. Okay. Almost, 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 almost. Okay. Cool. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Good amount. Good amount, good amount, good amount. Okay, we're still good. We're still gravy. We're still cool. We're still good. Let's do this. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, nice, 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 good. Alright, let's go. Okay, do you want more? No, I don't really want more. I want to be able to survive. It's 103 right now, man. 104, 104. Can we get this run going? Can we get this run? Are we going to survive? Are we going to survive? I will survive, Dreadknights. I will survive. I will survive. I can't sing the song. I won't survive. That was 110, though. That was a pretty good run with that. I can't really complain over that. You know? Let's get the chest. This will give us 110. Whisper of Atonement. So that's going to be pretty good in its own retrospect here. Alright, let's pick this up.
I
Can't carry anymore. Let me just get rid of the blue thing. I'll pick that up. Alright. I think that's enough Diablo 3 for today. Alright. With that being said, thank you to everybody who hung out. Thank you to everybody that lurked, VOD watchers. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more Diablo 3 content or Diablo content on the channel, I know I haven't done it in a while, definitely let me know. Let me know in the comments. Drop a like. Whatever, all those things that help in the algorithm. Tomorrow I'll be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. We'll be jumping back into Cool Tunes, giving it a go, seeing how the meta has changed since the release of it, because there's a lot more people that have adopted the deck. And then, like I said, Thursday, Breath of the Wild, maybe. If not, I will probably take that off the schedule and put something else I might want to play, like Team Fortress 2. Other things, too. Friday, Dead by Daylight, back in Dead by Daylight. I'll play some Dead by Daylight. If we can, like, make up for the last stream, because I know the last stream was a little bit scuffy with Dead by Daylight, which I apologize for. You know, but it happens, Dead by Daylight, you gotta be careful of, like, hackers and stuff, because they mess up your game and stuff and streams. With that being said, though, that is all the time that I have for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for being here. I do greatly appreciate it. Most importantly, I appreciate you. Till next time, guys.